CBS, Young, and the Restless spoilers. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's a gloomy, rainy day here, but honestly, that perfectly matches the mood of what we just watched. I've been staring at a blank screen for 20 minutes, trying to figure out how to even start talking about today's episode. Grab a huge cup of coffee, maybe a whole pot, because we need to process this. Let's just dive right in. So, Victor standing dead still in front of that ICU glass. I mean, wow. Just wow. I've been watching this show for what feels like a million years, and I don't think I've ever seen Eric Braeden deliver a look quite like that. It wasn't just sad. It was terrifying. And Nick, seeing Nick Newman, the golden boy, the guy who always bounces back from every disaster, just lying there completely motionless. He was hooked up to a dozen different machines, tubes everywhere. The ventilator doing the breathing for him, his chest rising and falling in this horrible mechanical rhythm. It was a lot to take in. It was hard to watch, honestly. But the writers really wanted us to feel the heavy, suffocating weight of this moment. They didn't cut away quickly. They let us sit there with Victor staring through that cold glass at his broken son. And then the doctor came out. You know, when a soap doctor takes that deep breath before speaking, it's never going to be, he just needs rest. But the diagnosis they gave today, devastating. Absolutely, completely devastating. The doctor looked right at Victor and Nikki and said, Nick's cerebral cortex is completely destroyed. Destroyed. Not damaged, not bruised, not slightly impaired. Destroyed because of the prolonged lack of oxygen after the drug overdose and that massive, horrific crash into the cliff on the outskirts of town. Hypoxia, they called it. Brain death, basically. Or at least permanent, irreversible brain damage that leaves him as a shell. I had to pause the screen for a second just to process that. Nick Newman. Brain dead? What are they thinking? What were the writers thinking? But let's talk about Nikki. Oh my God, Nikki. Melody Thomas Scott deserves all the Emmy Awards for that scene alone. When she collapsed to the Genoa City Memorial Hospital floor, that scream, that agonizing, soul-ripping scream echoing down the sterile hallways, it actually gave me chills. It felt so raw, so real. She just crumbled. Her legs gave out completely as the doctor's words hit her. You could feel every single ounce of a mother's worst nightmare in that one sound. And it just kept echoing, 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 like the sound was trapped in the walls of the hospital. I think fans on social media are going to be talking about that scream for years. It was that powerful. You could see the nurses in the background freezing, just paralyzed by the sound of her grieving. And through all of that noise, through Nikki's absolute breakdown on the linoleum floor, Victor didn't shed a single tear. Not one. He just stood there like a statue carved out of ice. But his eyes, man, his eyes were burning with a kind of hatred I have never, ever seen from Victor Newman before. And we all know Victor has a PhD in holding grudges and destroying lives. We've seen him crush companies and banish people from town. But this wasn't business. This wasn't a corporate takeover or a petty rivalry with Jack Abbott. This was his son, his boy, the one who was supposed to carry the legacy, the one he fought with but loved so fiercely. Victor's silence was honestly louder than Nikki's screaming. It was the silence before a nuclear bomb goes off. So, what does Victor do? He makes a vow. A silent, terrifying vow that you could just read all over his face. He swore right then and there that he is going to annihilate Matt Clark, and not just Matt. He swore to level anyone and everyone connected to that toxic batch of drugs that put Nick in this bed. Anyone who touched it, anyone who moved it, anyone who sold it, he is going to burn their worlds to ash. And we know exactly who he's coming for, don't we? Let's backtrack a bit, because we have to remember how we got here to this horrible hospital room. A few episodes ago, we found out Matt Clark intentionally tainted those drugs back in Vegas. He set the trap. He knew Nick was spiraling, fighting his demons. Matt wanted Nick to suffer, to literally fight for his life on a dirty floor. He planted those tainted bags. But it wasn't just Matt acting alone. No, we learned recently that Sienna Bacall was the one actually supplying Nick in Genoa City. Sienna, she was the one physically handing him the poison, enabling his downfall. And Victor is going to find that out. When he does, oh boy, I wouldn't want to be Sienna right now. Or Matt. Honestly, I wouldn't want to be in the same state as Victor Newman when he goes on this warpath. Think about the scene leading up to the crash. Nick was hallucinating. The fentanyl and the cocaine all mixed up with whatever poison Matt put in there. Nick literally saw Matt standing in the middle of the road, waving at him like some kind of demon. And Nick, in his altered, furious state, just hit the gas. He drove right off the cliff, trying to run over a ghost. It's tragic. It's so deeply tragic because Nick thought he was saving Sharon and Noah. He thought he was being the hero. But the drugs warped his reality, and now he's paying the ultimate price. And the fallout. Let's talk about the fallout, because it is massive. The Newman Empire is literally shaking right now, shaking to its very core. Victor is the emperor, right? But what happens when the emperor is completely blinded by grief and a thirst for blood? The rivals are already circling. You could practically smell the blood in the water during this episode. The corporate sharks in Genoa City and beyond are watching Victor lose his mind over this, and they are going to strike. Jabot, Chancellor Winters, everyone is going to feel the tremors of a destabilized Newman Enterprises. Think about it. Newman Enterprises relies on the illusion of absolute control. Victor projects invincibility, but right now he is vulnerable. He is distracted. He doesn't care about stock prices or mergers or Phyllis and her AI evidence drama. He only cares about finding Matt Clark and Sienna Bacall and making them pay in blood. Who is going to run the company? Victoria? She's a wreck too. She's the one who cornered Nick just days ago, forced him to confess about the drugs, tried to get him help. She's going to be drowning in guilt, thinking she pushed him too hard or didn't do enough. And Adam? Oh, Adam. Adam is already drowning in guilt because he was right there. He was with Nick. He tried to stop him, but Nick's cravings and the hallucinations were too strong. Adam couldn't stop his brother from driving off that cliff. The whole family is shattered. Noah is going to be devastated. Sharon, who literally drove her own car off a cliff to try and save him, is going to be inconsolable. The ripple effects of this are going to touch every single character on the canvas. So, who steps up, or does the empire just crumble? It's fascinating, honestly. I'm a bit tired of the usual corporate storylines where they just swap CEO chairs every 3 months, but this feels different. This is deeply personal. The business is failing because the family is failing. It's a classic soap opera trope. but it works so well here because the stakes are literally life and death. I just keep thinking about that image of Victor at the glass. It haunts me a little bit. It really does. And let's be real, you guys. Who actually believes this is going to end well for Matt Clark? Nobody. Matt is a psychopath who is currently faking amnesia and playing games with Patty Williams and everyone else. He thinks he's untouchable. He thinks he won. He literally lured Noah and Sharon into a trap, caused this whole mess, and now he's just sitting back acting confused. But he doesn't realize the beast. He just woke up. Victor isn't going to call the cops. Victor's going to handle this the Newman way. I'm just rambling now, but I can't help it. My mind is racing with all the possibilities. Well, Patty Williams actually handed Matt over to Victor for that $2 million. She called him. She made the offer. If Victor pays her, Matt is dead meat. But will Victor trust Patty? Patty is completely unhinged right now after Matt rejected her. It's a mess. A beautiful, chaotic, tragic mess. Victor has to decide if paying off a blackmailer is worth getting his hands on the man who destroyed his son. I think he pays it. I think Victor would burn $2 million just to watch Matt Clark sweat. And what about Nick? Are they really going to kill off Nick Newman? I mean, it's a soap. People come back from the dead all the time. But completely destroyed cerebral cortex is pretty specific medical jargon. It's hard to walk away from that with a miracle surgery, unless Dr. Hastings suddenly invents a new brain procedure, which, let's face it, happens on soaps. I don't know. I change my mind every 5 minutes. Maybe he will wake up. Maybe he won't. I just don't see how they write themselves out of this corner without it feeling cheap. But then again, I said the same thing when Diane came back from the dead, and look where we are now. Maybe I'm being too harsh on the writers. They have a plan. I hope they have a plan. So, yeah, I guess we just have to wait and see. But right now, the mood is grim. Genoa City is under a dark, heavy cloud. Victor is going to war. Nikki is broken beyond repair. The Newman Empire is vulnerable to every predator in the business world. And Nick is fighting a battle he probably can't win, trapped in a machine-assisted limbo. It's heavy stuff. Really, really heavy. I need a nap after watching this, or maybe a stiff drink. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Are you as wrecked by Nikki's scream as I was? Do you think Victor will actually kill Matt Clark? Let's discuss, because I need to talk about this with people who understand. The writers really pulled the rug out from under us today, and I'm still falling.